Good evening. You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. On the show tonight, a top editor recuses himself for 6 months to atone after grave allegations of sexual assault by a young woman journalist at his magazine. Can Tarun Tejpal of Tehelka really get away with a self-imposed holiday? Has Tehelka brushed the sexual assault under the carpet? And is sexual harassment taken lightly in India? Well, it's a story that has disturbed any right-thinking person, shaking the conscience of a media that normally doesn't talk about these things. Tarun Tejpal's decision to recuse himself for 6 months after allegations of sexual assault by a woman journalist at his magazine have been met with the strongest possible criticism and backlash. But there has been even more criticism of Tehelka's managing editor Shoma Chaudhary, to whom the girl had complained. Shoma today said the girl got what she wanted, an apology, and angrily accused the rest of us in the media of being more aggrieved than the concerned reporter. But the problem is the story isn't going away, because the Goa police have now started an investigation.
It was given to her, he stepped down, which was not something she had asked for. It was over and above that. Surely if you all are feeling more aggrieved than the journalist herself, I cannot answer that.
Defiant despite the massive criticism online and otherwise over the past 24 hours. The backlash began immediately after Tehelka magazine's managing editor Shoma Chaudhary announced that the magazine's founder and editor-in-chief Tarun Tejpal had stepped down after he admitted to sexually assaulting a colleague. The incident at an event organized by the magazine in Goa is not yet a police case, but the state's chief minister has said he could still act on it.
Prima facie a crime has taken place. Preliminary inquiry does not require any complaint from anyone.
While Goa Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar has ordered a preliminary inquiry, the police are also trying to contact the journalist so as to record her statement. While that will certainly bolster their case, they've also asked a 5-star hotel where the offence took place to preserve CCTV footage, as that could serve as crucial evidence in the absence of eyewitnesses.
On the receiving end of questions all of today, managing editor Shoma Chaudhary insisted it was not a legal case yet, but said Tehelka is in the process of setting up an anti-sexual harassment panel.
By this evening, a harassment committee will definitely be set up.
Committee is something which, according to the law, Tehelka should have had in place anyway. Not just that, the magazine should have set up one or even gone to the police when the girl first complained, as provided in law. Now it has been directed by the National Commission of Women to set up such a panel. Though this had been one of the demands by the assaulted journalist, it may not be enough. She has told NDTV that she is deeply disappointed by Tehelka's response, that she is not satisfied as her testimony has not been circulated within the magazine, even though Tejpal's letter was. The letter she is referring to was sent by Tarun Tejpal to Shoma Chaudhary, where he said it was a bad lapse of judgment, an awful misreading of the situation that led to an unfortunate incident. He said, "I have already apologized unconditionally but feel impelled to atone further. Must do the penance that lacerates, therefore offering to recuse myself from Tehelka for 6 months."
It's been a couple of weeks since the alleged assault, but Tejpal's resignation and leak of internal mails has brought the matter out in the open. But besides the criminal inquiry probing the culpability of Tarun Tejpal, will there be any action on the management for their belated response? With Pooja Talwar and Tejas Mehta, this is Tanima Biswas for NDTV.
Well, the Editors Guild of India has issued a very strong statement this evening saying that there should not be any attempt to cover up or play down this extremely serious incident. Self-proclaimed atonement and recusal for a period are hardly the remedies for what the allegations show to be outright criminality. It goes on to say the full force of the law must be brought into its investigation and prosecution. Well, is Tehelka brushing under the carpet the issue of sexual assault here? And what about sexual harassment at the workplace? Is this something as an issue which is not taken seriously enough in organizations across India? I just want to mention here at the outset that we have repeatedly tried to contact Mr. Tarun Tejpal and Shoma Chaudhary to appear on this program to give their side of the story. We have not received any response from either of them. Joining us on the program tonight, we have senior Supreme Court lawyer Vrinda Grover. Here in the studio with us, activist Kavita Krishnan. We have Siddharth Vardarajan, the former editor of the Hindu. We have senior journalist Ashok Malik. Also with us, Vasudevan Srinivasan, who joins us tonight from Mumbai. He's a friend of the young woman concerned. And in fact, Vasudevan, I wanted to go to you first because I'm sure it would have taken a lot of courage on her part to come forward and speak about this. Is there any insight you can give us at all about the kind of courage it took for her to speak up?
You know, she's a very young lady, and she had displayed courage in, I think, multiple levels. One is that her ability to say no when this aggression possibly happened. Two, her courage to able to go and report that entire matter to her colleagues immediately. I mean, she didn't flinch, and she went and reported this matter to her colleagues immediately. And thereafter, and she worked the next day as if nothing had happened. She worked the next day, throughout the day, with her colleagues, with the same person who was the aggressor. And thereafter, this incident got repeated again. And I guess she was courageous enough to report this to her colleagues, and thereafter she spoke to her mother. And I think that's displaying substantial courage for somebody that young, and that too when it happens from your super and somebody very, very high in the food chain, somebody you respect, somebody you've grown up looking up as a father figure, a mentor. I think that's very courageous on our part.
There is, on one hand, Vasudevan, the question of the actual assaults that took place allegedly, and which when one looks at those accounts are very horrific in themselves. And then there is the response of her other boss, Shoma Chaudhary, the managing editor of Tehelka, and the way that Tehelka has dealt with this issue. Has that been something that has caused her considerable pain over the last couple of days, to see the way that the magazine has handled her complaint?
I can't speak too much on that. All I can say is that, you know, the responses have been kind of martyring, saying that, listen, I'm going to give up on my status, and unqualified apologies. I think there is more to it. It's not just about, Tehelka as an institution, getting a bad name. It's somebody, and the head of the institution, being there in a place where he was the aggressor, where people within the organization, in that establishment, there is nobody else that you can go as a recourse to when the head of the institution possibly was the aggressor in this case. Not possibly, was the aggressor in this case.